So if you're preparing for your IELTS exam, then this video is for you. This is Joy Khan from our university channel, and the topic of today's video is how did I manage to get 8 plus in the IELTS exam. Yeah. So today we are going to have this a very important discussion on how did I manage to get 8 plus in IELTS exam. To be honest, it was not a very easy journey, and I knew that even though I was a very good student of English language, even though I knew that I'm one of the best speakers in the country, I knew that I had to go through the dilemmas, you know, of IELTS exam. So if you are preparing for IELTS exam, then this video is for you. Today in this video, I'm going to share with you not only my experiences, but some truths about IELTS exam. First and foremost, if you don't know about IELTS exam, let me give you some clues about it. First of all, if you want to go to other countries and if you want to go to the best universities of the world, then you don't have any alternative of IELTS exam. You will have to participate in IELTS exam so that you could get admitted in a very good university from where you could complete your higher studies. So today I'm going to share with you some very key ideas that will help you in your journey of IELTS exam. My first advice is prepare well for this exam. You see, IELTS exam is not like an ordinary exam that you participate in. It's an international standard exam. So for that reason, you must prepare well. A lot of the times, and I've seen it countless of times, I've seen numerous students who are participating in this exam without appropriate preparation. So, they're wasting their money and also they're wasting their time and energy because proper preparation, one of my best friends, George, said that proper preparation is the key to our success. So you must prepare well for these exams, or otherwise, you are not going to get the desired score that you are asking for. So my advice is prepare well for this exam. And if you look at my IELTS scores and you are surprised, how did I manage this score? I prepared well, and largely depending upon your current situation and the level of your English language skills. It could be a preparation of 3 months, it could be a preparation of 6 months, it could be a preparation of 1 year or even more. But if you are not preparing for the IELTS exam, your chances of studying in a very good university, and getting a very good degree from a very reputed university is going to be finished forever. So for that reason, I advise you that you prepare well. And let me tell you my experiences. As I was preparing for my IELTS exam, I knew that I had to take some preparations first. So I prepared well for this exam and I anticipated, what could go right and what could go wrong. And once I figured out, what could go wrong, I somehow corrected those things. And that's how I managed to get 8 plus, which is a very good score, I guess, in our country. I don't know what's in your country. Okay, it could be something else. So my first advice, prepare well. Don't participate in this exam if you're not well prepared. Number 2, work on your weaknesses. We human beings, we have certain weaknesses regardless of how much educated we are, how much sophisticated you are, how much sophisticated or how much powerful you are. You certainly have some weaknesses, some vulnerabilities, some susceptibilities, right? So these weaknesses have to be removed. Unless you remove these weaknesses, I don't think there is any chance of you succeeding in this exam. So work on your weaknesses. Okay, very good advice. Now it could be, if you don't know about the IELTS exam, there are 4 parts in the IELTS exam, which are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. You could be a very good writer, but if you are a very poor speaker, you could get dumped in the IELTS exam, or whatever. I didn't want to use the F word. Okay, so your weaknesses are going to determine the height to which you could reach on this exam. So for that reason, my advice, work on your weaknesses. If you are weak in your listening skills, improve your listening skills. The more you are going to improve your listening skills, the better scores you are going to get. So if you have weakness in your speaking skills, maybe you are a very good person in terms of your English language skills. Everybody appreciates you. But when it comes to speaking, you are nervous, and whenever you go in front of an examiner, and you are opening your mouth, you're thinking, oh, how that person is going to evaluate me, how I'm going to be seen by that person. This type of shyness and this type of things, they are not going to work, and in a lot of the ways they will be detrimental for your scores in your IELTS exam. So for that reason, make sure you remove your weaknesses. Now, if you tell me about my weaknesses, first of all, I was kind of a little bit weak in terms of my reading skills, and a lot of the times I kind of had confusion in two options. So I tend to work on that. I didn't have to work on my speaking part because I was quite good at that. This was the one that brought me the most amount of advantage, and this was the exam that in which I was very confident, in which most of the students did something terribly wrong. And if you do some very mischievous works in terms of your speaking test, you're going to be thrown out, and you're not going to get the type of score that you were asking for. So work on your weaknesses. Advice number 2. Number 3 advice: read, listen, and write a lot. We all do our listening, we all do our reading, and we all do our writing. But in a lot of the ways, we don't do them to the point that is necessary. We must do these things time and time again. We must employ our time. We must utilize our opportunities. We must be prepared for this exam. Things in this world just don't merely happen. They happen just, so you must take the appropriate preparation in terms of your reading, listening, and writing skills. So if you engage in these activities time and time again, okay, then they will improve. If you look at most of the students, they prepare well before the exam, but they waste a great deal of their time, before the exam, and that's the reason why studying just before, 5 days before the exam won't give you the edges, that you would normally get if you had a great deal of practice ahead of the exam. So my advice to you: do these things a lot. Don't just do them once or twice. Number 4, I guess this is very important advice: stay engaged in your listening, writing, speaking, all these parts. I mean, the level to which you will be engaged in these processes. Now, doing our study, if you look at your student life, I mean, there were times when you were, deeply absorbed in the processes of reading, writing, listening, and speaking. But in most of the cases, if you look carefully at yourself, then you will figure out and you will realize that you were not engaging in these processes. Now, unless you engage in these processes, you're not going to get good score in the IELTS exam, because it takes a great deal of effort to engage in these processes. Now, I've seen thousands of students all across the globe, who are poor in terms of their educational skills. Why? It is primarily because they are studying, but they are not engaging in the processes. The level of your engagement, how engaged are you in your studies? That's the thing that's going to determine the outcome of your exam. So for that reason, prepare yourself well and stay engaged all the time. Number 5, profound understanding of the processes. If you look carefully into the IELTS exam, it involves certain processes. The listening part, as you are listening to the listening part, you will see that some processes are going on there. You will feel, you will hear, you will understand that some processes are going there, and you are going through those processes. Now, a lot of the times what students do, they usually start their preparation of IELTS exam and they tend to forget about the processes. The processes are very important. They're crucial for your success and your long-term prosperity. So for that reason, you must make sure that you engage in the processes of listening. you know Look carefully at the listening parts. What are the processes that they're going on? How well equipped you are in terms of your ability to deal with the exam, and improve your processes. Then go to the reading part, the reading sections, the first questions and the later questions, the confusions that are going on inside of you, the dilemmas that you are facing, the equivocal answers that your mind is providing you, which may be uh, unclear to you at that time. But as you practice and you go through the processes, you will see that you are having some understanding of the processes, and you are being able to distinguish between the right answer and the wrong answer. So engaging in these processes and having a profound understanding of it is very important, even in the writing section. If you look at the writing section of the IELTS exam, is probably the one in which the most of the students are, they get the lowest amount of marks. It's because writing usually involves a process in which you have to clearly, and you have to make it very clear exactly what you are trying to mean to the examination. And also your writing script, I mean the answer to the writing test, has to be in accordance with the question. I've seen thousands of students every year who are participating in the writing test, but their answers to the writing questions, there is no correlations. They're writing answers to the questions, but the questions, the answers that they provided, there has no correlation with the questions being asked. So there is a total disconnection. There is a total difference between the type of answers they're giving and the type of questions that were asked of them to answer in the exam hall. I have seen it countless of times that students are doing this sort of works, and they are being deprived of their greatest opportunity, of IELTS exam, and they're most of the time I've seen they're failing in the writing section. And not only just they're failing, they're failing by such states which is unbelievable to me. There was an incident I would like to share with you my experience. I saw a student, you know, he was participating in the IELTS exam, and it was an exam in which he answered the questions, and I saw his scripts. There was no absolute relation between the questions were asked in the question paper and his answer script. So, and I told him that question has your answer has got no relation with the type of question being asked by